Appearances are as they have been. And Mr. Brooks, I presume you're ready for your opening statement?
Just 1 second. And for the record, I don't consent to that name, Your Honor.
I intend to have the jury brought out. I presume you're ready to go?
Having a slight issue finding certain.
Can you sit up, because I'm not hearing you very well, so that the microphone picks you up, please?
I'm having a slight issue locating some of the files that I need. That's what I was trying to say.
All right, we'll take a moment. You can look. Tell me when you locate them.
Okay. Your Honor, I have a question.
Go ahead.
The files that I'm attempting to locate are pertains directly to the witnesses that I will be calling. I'm not sure what witnesses are here today.
Well, let's do this. I'd like you to at least do your opening statement, bring the jury in, do that. We'll give you an opportunity to look again. I can have the state write down who's here. I believe it's based on what you told them, and then if there's still something you need at that point, but I'd like to at least bring the jury out and start with your opening statement, okay?
Well, just so I'm clear, I didn't give a specific order in who I will be calling by specific order. I gave a generalization of
sure, I'll have the state. Sorry.
Who would be called on what day?
Why don't I have the state write down who's here presently, and then you can make that determination, but at least let's go with the opening statement, okay?
That's what I was trying to get at. It would help to know who's actually here today.
Before you make your opening statement?
Well, so I know if they're not here, then essentially I can't call them.
Let's address that after. I'll have the state write down who they know to be here now or who's coming this afternoon, because there might have been people here this morning. I believe they're still here, but I'll let them write that down for you so you can better prepare. But at this point, I would like to bring the jury out for your opening statement. I presume you're going to give one.
I am.
Okay. Then I'll have the jury brought out, okay?
Subject matter jurisdiction?
My prior written decision stands. I will not be addressing that further. Your objection is noted, and I will be continuing with the trial.
Is it verified proof for the record?
Sir, I don't believe I need to do that, or that the state needs to do that as well. I believe your statement about that is a misstatement of the law, and I do not intend to pursue that further.
Can you show me lawful law that says that?
I gave you a written decision. I have done that.
Can you show me lawful law that verifies that?
Sir,
for the record,
I gave you a written decision.
I accepted for value in return for
and
value.
And that's how I'm going to answer that. So
let's not verified proof. We still aren't.
Sir, there is no requirement in the law that the state or the court establish that. So
actually, there is.
Noted.
All right.
Actually, there is, Your Honor. Subject matter jurisdiction has to be proven for the record. Has to be proven. Has to be proven. You know that just as well as
Mr. Brooks.
You know that.
Please do not make statements that mischaracterize the law.
You know it has to be proven
or that
for the
impugn
record.
the integrity of this court.
You know it has to be proven
and the
on the
proceedings
record.
here.
You know
the jury
it has
is
to be proven.
advised to disregard the statements that Mr. Brooks is making regarding subject matter jurisdiction. They are not evidence, and you are to disregard them.
They're not presented as evidence. Just has yet to be proven for the record.
The jury will disregard the incorrect statements of the law that Mr. Brooks is stating.
Where's lawful law that is incorrect?
Mr. Brooks, please. I am going to read one instruction. The defendant will now make an opening statement. The purpose of an opening statement is to give the defendant an opportunity to tell you what he expects the evidence will show so that you will better understand the evidence as it is introduced during the trial. I must caution you, however, that the opening statements are not evidence. With that, go ahead, sir.
Obviously, I don't have any rehearsed or well-prepared speech, so I'm just going to speak from the heart. I would just like to first say that I want to bring to remembrance something I think everyone in this room has been taught pretty much as far back as we can remember, is that there's always two sides to every story. And for so long now, roughly a year, there's only truly been one side told of this story. I've sat back and watched from countless narratives that's been put out there, the way this incident has been portrayed at times. Finally, everyone getting a chance to get the full story. You won't hear me try to argue facts. The fact is that this incident was tragic, very tragic. That's not lost on me. There's still a lot of people healing, a lot of families healing on both sides. What I'm confident that the evidence will show, sorry, I'm getting a little emotional. What I'm confident that the evidence will show is that this incident was not planned. This incident was not intentional. And this incident was never even thought about. It's easy to I'm sorry. Just need a second. It's easy to look at the magnitude of something like this and form opinions. It's easy to disregard a lot of factors. In reference to what I stated earlier, it's easy to forget the other side of the coin. There's been a lot of suffering involved in this incident, a lot. With the families, with the community, and even the alleged defendant's family as well. There's been a lot of suffering, a lot of misunderstanding. I just want you to keep in mind everything that will be presented in its totality. Keep in mind the power that you have. That should escape your knowledge. This has been a long process for everybody. And what I believe is when it's time for you to make your decision, all of you, I believe that, and I pray that it's the right decision. That all the factors are weighed. There's been a lot of words thrown out there about the alleged. A lot of speculation, a lot of ridicule. Words like demon. Words like monster. I know a lot of the time I've been before you, you see me with this mask on. I've had my reasons for that, but I feel now is the time to. It's important that you see me for who I am. No mask. For who I am. I think this is the moment for that. I pray that your eyes and ears remain as open as possible. And understand that you alone decide this case, this matter. The power is in your hands, all of you. To determine for yourselves what truth is. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. And do we have their writing materials available? All right. Thank you. Mr. Brooks, you ready to call your first, would be your second witness, actually. You need a minute? I'm going to take a short break. I'll rise for the jury, please. We'll be with you shortly. Mr. Brooks, have you found what you were looking for?
I'm just gonna go with. I'm just gonna work off the list of the people who's here,
Okay.
if that's fine.
All right. You know who you're going to call first? We'll have that person ready.
Yeah.
Okay. You want to let us know so that the state can assist with that? Otherwise, you can just call when we are in front of the jury. So have the jury brought out, please.
Some of them are downstairs and some of them are out here. So it's fine. It just will take a few minutes if they're over in the main courthouse.
Okay. Do you want to give us two names and we'll have two people out there? I just want to make it go smoothly, sir. That's all.
Since I'm working off this list, I wasn't expecting that to be first.
Who do you want to call first? And we'll see if they're here.
Well, sorry.
That's okay.
Apparently, this list is who's here, I'm guessing.
That's my understanding as well. Not yet. Is there someone you expected to be on the list that is not?
Kinda.
Do you want to make a record of that? Do you want me to address it in any way?
No, not right now.
All right, well then I'm going to instruct the jury to come out, and then you can call your first witness. Thank you, everyone. Please be seated. All right, you may call your first witness. Actually, your second witness.
The defense would like to call the plaintiff, state of Wisconsin, to the stand.
Your Honor, I object.
The objection is noted. It is sustained. Call your next witness, please.
Reason for the sustain?
Not relevant. And you haven't named a person to go along with it.
The subpoena was accepted, Your Honor.
I'll take the issue up outside the presence of the jury if necessary. Call your next witness, please.
Well, I would like to make an oral tennis motion to dismiss for failure to appear by the plaintiff and for failure to state a claim from which relief can be granted.
I will take that up outside the presence of the jury. Next witness, please.
So is the state not present?
Mr. Brooks, I'm not going to address that any further while the jury's present. I'll take that up outside their presence. Call your next witness, please.
The defense calls Nicholas Kirby.
All right. Nicholas Kirby.
Good afternoon, Mr. Kirby. How are you today?
I'm here.
Do you recall the events of November 21st of 2021?
All too well.
And what were you doing that day?
What time of the day?
Around 3 o'clock-ish.
3 o'clock-ish. Around 3 o'clock-ish, I was walking with Corey around Waukesha. Earlier, well, yeah.
And you made reference to walking with Corey. Who is Corey?
Corey is a friend of Miss Patterson's.
And would it be fair to say that it's also a friend of yours?
Mutual friend, yes.
And what were you doing?
Walking around Waukesha, she was waiting for Miss Patterson to get done meeting with Mr. Brooks. You?
At 3 o'clock?
Around 3 o'clock-ish. Around that time, I had advised her not to go meet with Mr. Brooks.
You made reference to Mr. Brooks. Who's that?
That would be you.
And why would you say it would be you? That's you.
Because that's your name.
And you were privy to that information at the time?
I was privy to the information about you about a week prior to this incident.
And during your walking around, what were you doing with Corey?
Walking, like literally walking. We went from one store to walking around downtown after Erica told us she was going to be going to meet with Mr. Brooks. That would be you. I had advised her not to do it because it was a bad idea, and I was in fear for her safety.
You made reference to knowing about Brooks a week prior to these events, you said?
I didn't know everything about him. Miss Patterson had showed me his rap sheet, if you will, and a picture of him, and that was about it. I had heard prior
I'm going to stop the witness unless you want him to go there, not to discuss what may or may not be conduct of Mr. Brooks prior to November 21 of 2021.
Okay.
With that understanding, go ahead and ask the next question.
You made reference to a picture you were shown.
Just a photograph with a rap sheet behind it.
And at some point, did you and your mutual friend Corey meet up with Miss Patterson?
We were walking towards, or away from Dollar General, towards where Erica had said that she was being assaulted and attacked.
And do you recall where that area was?
Yes.
Where was that area?
On White Rock Avenue, right across from White Rock Elementary.
And do you know if there's a park in that immediate vicinity?
There is a park there named Frame Park, yes.
Did you ever go to Frame Park?
No. We were in that area near the park where the elementary school is and the apartments are.
About what time did you and your mutual friend Corey meet up with Miss Patterson?
Miss Patterson called me and said that she was...
About what time was the question? About what time?
And I'm getting to that.
I'll direct the witness answer his question specifically. What time?
Honestly, around what time the parade started. I would have to say like dusk. I honestly don't wear a watch, so sorry, I don't remember the time.
And at some point, you received a phone call from Miss Patterson?
Yes.
You yourself?
Yes.
And then at that point, what did you do?
When she told me that she was in trouble and she needed help, I went to her aid, which means I took off from where I was near Dollar General and ran to where she told me to go.
And when you got there, what did you see?
Halfway towards White Rock Elementary, I stopped a police officer at a barricade and I let him know that a woman was being assaulted in a vehicle.
And do you recall giving a description of who may have been assaulting your friend?
No.
Why not?
Because at that point in time, the description didn't matter. I had the identity of the vehicle. So I told them you need to be looking for a red SUV with a woman screaming out of it.
And how did you come into the knowledge of the description of the vehicle?
Because I saw the vehicle.
At what point did you see the vehicle?
When Corey and I were walking up White Rock Avenue on the apartment building side of White Rock, I walked past the red vehicle, didn't realize that she was in that vehicle. Then Corey and I crossed the street to White Rock Elementary and started walking down the sidewalk, and I heard her scream, Miss Patterson scream. I don't remember exactly what she said, but she screamed and I knew it was her, so I walked back across the street and escorted her across the street over to White Rock Elementary.
I don't think that's what
I'm just giving you full description.
Let's back up a little bit because that doesn't make sense. You stated that you had a description of the vehicle. Would that be fair to say?
Yes.
The question was, how did you learn of the description of the vehicle at that point?
Miss Patterson told me over the phone that she was in a red SUV. There aren't many red SUVs with young women screaming for help in Waukesha.
So I'm assuming, because you made reference to stopping law enforcement before arriving to the scene. Would that be fair to say?
Yes.
So I'm assuming somewhere in the time of you stopping the law enforcement officer to report what you were being told, and then actually walking past the vehicle as you said you did, and then hearing this and all this, did you give a full report to law enforcement?
At the time when someone was in help and needed help immediately, absolutely not. I said there's a woman being attacked in a red SUV, you need to call for backup. Now.
And then you just ran.
And then I
away.
ran towards the person that needed help.
Did you at any time give a more detailed report that evening?
No, not that evening.
Did you speak with any more law enforcement that evening?
Yes.
Do you recall whom that was?
I do not recall the officer's name that showed up in the SUV coming down White Rock, in the police squad SUV. I don't even know the name of the officers that turned into Frame Park. But yes, I did speak to an officer.
How did you come into the knowledge of where officers turned and went?
The officer that I had stopped at the barricade when we were coming to Miss Patterson's aid had radioed for backup, and obviously given them description of the vehicle that I had described to them, the red SUV. That backup came, but they went to Frame Park. They did not go to where we were on White Rock.
Any idea why they went to Frame Park if you specifically told them a description of a vehicle and where it was located?
I did not tell them where the vehicle was located because at first incident, Mr. Brooks had taken off in his SUV.
Stating to the detective that your friend Miss Patterson was being assaulted somewhere near the area of White Rock School.
Objection, lady.
Overruled. He may answer. I'll just caution Mr. Brooks about leading questions since it's his witness, but this particular question you can answer.
Yes, I mentioned that I had received a phone call from Miss Patterson and that she was being assaulted while in a vehicle.
At any time did you identify White Rock School?
I identified the street, which is named White Rock, the apartment buildings, and the school as well as Frame Park.
So you did identify Frame Park?
I identified the entire geographical area.
And at some point you said you heard your friend Miss Patterson screaming?
Yes.
And do you recall what she was screaming?
Objection, hearsay.
I said, do he recall?
As for the question, he's asking, did he hear? So you may answer. It's a yes or no.
I do not. Yes, she screamed. Do I remember what? She was trying to say, no, I'm guessing it would be help. I'm in trouble. I would assume that that's what a person would scream when they're in trouble, is for help.
Do we still have the exhibit with the footage from the White Rock School available?
The security footage?
The security footage, I'm sorry.
We do.
Can you? This one is roughly 7 minutes, so I would need a little bit of it played, if possible.
It's been received, so go ahead. It'll be published, so everyone can see.
Well, before it's published, can you show it to the witness?
That's fine. We'll just play for the witness then.
Pause. Did you observe anyone get in or out of the vehicle?
Apparently, according to this video, she did not exit your vehicle. She was behind the White Rock sign. That's why I did not see her.
Did you see anyone get into the vehicle?
Later on, within the incident, yes.
on the video that you are able to view right now, from the 1 minute and 5 second mark to the 1 minute and 21 second mark, did you observe anyone get into the vehicle?
No.
Can you publish for the jury?
You want to replay it again?
Yes. At that time, were you already en route to where you believe your friend was being assaulted at?
Objection calls for speculation. This defendant has not even put this witness at this location at this time. He's just having him testify about what he's seeing in video.
I understand the objection. It's sustained. Please establish some foundation for this witness being present at that location. For
Were you-
more information about the incident.
Were you present at this time?
We were on White Rock Avenue, but we were not in the general location of the school as of yet. As of that point in time.
So to your recollection, you didn't see anything that you're seeing right now or on this video. You did not see the day of the incident?
No, I definitely saw Miss Patterson in a red SUV that day.
Did you see?
At this specific time, no. Because I was down the road on White Rock talking to an officer who was manning the intersection of Hartwell and White Rock. And reporting at that time.
Can we play a little bit more, if I may?
Objection as to relevance. If he wants to direct the video to a certain time that if he would like to ask this witness about that particular time if the witness saw that, that's fine. But he can't go through each video and say, and ask general questions.
There's only been one video that's been shown.
I'm going to give Mr. Brooks some leeway on this. The video is to be played from this moment, and then Mr. Brooks, tell us when you want it to stop.
Okay. What I'm attempting to do for the record, Your Honor, is...
Just play the video and you can ask your question.
All right.
Go ahead.
Can you pause it right there? By what you are viewing in this video right now, had you and your mutual friend Corey linked up with Miss Patterson at that point?
At this point in time in the video, given from what I've just seen, that was when Erica was on the phone trying to get a hold of me. We were already on White Rock at that point in time. We were not near the school at that point in time, though.
So that was when you would, to your recollection, that's when you would say the phone call to you was made?
One of the phone calls, yes, she made multiple phone calls to me, I think probably about 6. And I picked up her phone call, and she said, "I need help, I'm in trouble, come help me. I'm being assaulted." That's when I left.
You just made reference to that point in the vehicle being, I'm sorry. Oh, I'm so drained. That point in the video was when you made reference to that point in the video being when you received the phone call.
Yes. A phone call out of multiple from her.
That's fair, a phone call. Would it be fair to say that you're not sure how many phone calls you had received that day or who they were from?
I only received 51 phone calls on my phone that day. That I actually do know. 6 of which belonged to her.
And all around the same time?
All around the time. She obviously didn't want to get off the phone because no one calls me 6 times in a row unless they need some help.
Can we continue to play from 138? Can you pause right there very quick? Do you see in this video your friend Miss Patterson walking back in the direction that she had just come from?
I see her on the phone talking to someone, which I assume would be me, telling me where
Mr.
she...
Kirby, I need you to answer the specific question that's being asked at the moment, okay?
All right.
Thank you.
Yes, I see her on White Rock on the phone walking back in the direction she was originally...
Again, Your Honor, I'm going to
Coming
object
from.
to this line of questioning unless the defendant can put this witness there. I don't know what the relevance of this testimony is.
I didn't even get
The
to that
exhibit
point.
has been received, it's been published previously.
Absolutely.
So I'm going to give Mr. Brooks some leeway here. Overruled.
At
I would like you to get to where you need to go, though.
That was the next question. At this point in the video, had you yet come into a range where you and your mutual friend Corey, had you yet come into a range where you can see Miss Patterson at that point?
Corey was the one that spotted her first.
Could you yourself see her at that point?
I heard her scream. That's what caught my attention.
And you made reference to that scream being heard from inside the vehicle. Would that be fair to say?
Yes, because that's where she was when she called me. And I was still on the phone with her while going down White Rock Avenue. Even while I was talking to the officer, I said, I'm on the phone with her right now. I'm trying to figure out where she is. Can you please call for backup? So we continued down White Rock to look for Miss Patterson.
Would it be fair to say that in the phone call you received, she told you where she was at, and that's the area that you were generally responding to with your mutual friend Corey?
Miss Patterson doesn't know Waukesha. I knew the area she was talking about because I live in that area.
Would it be fair to say that you just testified to when you had the interaction with law enforcement that you stated you're on the phone with her right now trying to figure out where she was? So would it be fair to say at that point you didn't know where she was?
I knew that she was on White Rock. I didn't know exactly where or how far down on White Rock she was at that point in time. At that specific time, I did not know. It wasn't until I seen a red SUV parked in front of the apartment buildings on White Rock that I figured that might be the one that she was in. It was Corey who spotted her across from the road.
Can you point out in what area the red apartment you're referring to might be?
It's a touch
It's a
screen.
touch screen, so you can. Would it be fair to say that from where we're paused at in the video, we can't tell if there's any vehicle parked in that general area?
You literally just played the video where the vehicle
Just
turned
answer the
around.
question, sir.
No, you cannot see it from this angle.
Would it be fair to say that where the video is paused now, that Miss Patterson is not, or who you identified as Miss Patterson is not inside of a vehicle?
She is not inside of a vehicle in this video, no.
Can we play it from 1 minute and 47 seconds? At this point, walking with your friend Corey, had she alerted you to spotting Miss Patterson at that point?
She said she's over here. She must be out of his car now or something. She said something along the lines of that. So we went across the street and there was Miss Patterson hobbling down the street with a boot on her leg.
You made reference to your friend Corey saying she must be out of his car now. Do you know, as you were walking with your friend Corey, do you know if she observed Miss Patterson being in a vehicle at that point?
She was with me when the phone call came. So I assume that when someone tells me that they're in a vehicle, then they are in a vehicle. That does not mean that they would be in a vehicle by the time I got there. I was on foot. And I wasn't walking, I was running.
Can you play it from 2:13? Pause right there. Would it be fair to say we see some individuals walking right here? Are you able to see that in the video?
Yes, I can see it.
At that time, had you come close enough to the scene where you can observe any individuals in that area?
I don't remember the people that were in that area. I was only focused on the one, and that was the one in danger.
Could you?
So no.
Could you at that point observe Miss Patterson?
From my point on the street, from where I was,
At that time, yeah. Where it's paused at now?
during a parade, no.
Can we play it from 409?
Go ahead.
Pause right there. You see the two individuals here?
Yep,
Do you know who those individuals are?
that's me and Miss Corey. I was looking at my phone trying to call Miss Patterson back because she was not answering her phone. That scared me. So I told Corey to keep an eye out, look for her as I tried to keep calling her. When I looked up and we got past the White Rock Elementary School sign, that was when I seen her.
Would it be fair to say that judging from the video, the White Rock, let me back up. Are you referring to the sign right here that says White Rock Campus?
I'm referring to where the end of the school building itself meets the driveway or the road that's there. There's a turnoff road.
I apologize. Can we take that X from next to the White Rock Campus sign? So can you point to exactly what you're referring to?
Where that intersection is, where I just drew that little X.
And at that point, you were able to observe Miss Patterson.
I observed her walking when Corey had told me that she had seen her. And so we grabbed her and started to leave to turn around. At that point in time, an officer was coming to Frame Park because of the report that I had given.
So you observed Miss Patterson walking and not inside of a vehicle?
At that point in time, no.
No, as in?
As in she was not in a vehicle at that point in time when we finally came upon her.
So when, if at any time did you observe Miss Patterson inside of a vehicle?
When she was going back into his vehicle to get her things or whatever it was that she was trying to pull out of his car, her phone or something or whatever.
Can we play the video from 418?
Go ahead.
Pause right here. Is it fair to say from the video that two people right there are crossing the road?
Yes.
And do you know the identity of those two people?
That's me and Miss Corey.
Would it be fair to say that at that time you observed Miss Patterson?
Going from one side to another looking for Erica. When we ended up on this side, the red SUV was parked in front of the apartment buildings. There was a tree here, and Miss Erica came from the passenger side of the vehicle around the back. That's when I heard her yell something. That's when I went over.
You made reference to Miss Patterson coming from around the vehicle.
coming from the passenger side. So I had assumed that she had just gotten out of the vehicle.
Do you know that for sure?
If I didn't see her earlier when I was on White Rock or a vehicle earlier on White Rock, how could I know?
Did you see her in the vehicle at that time?
I seen her come from around the vehicle. I am not actually sure if she was in the vehicle at that point in time.
Thank you.
I was just going by what she said over the phone.
Okay.
So my
understood.
assumption is that she was in a vehicle.
All right, next question.
If it pleases Your Honor, do we have a better view of this point in particular?
I don't know.
Maybe on Exhibit 3 might be a better view of this
If you have a
particular
specific spot to direct the state to, then I will have them do that, but
Can we view Exhibit 3? Does looking at this video right now bring any recollection of that day back to you?
Yeah.
And using the touchscreen, can you identify, if you see yourself in this video, can you identify where you are?
I'm right here.
Can you identify who the other person is that's shown on the exhibit?
That's Miss Corey.
You can play from right
let's
there.
clear that first and then
Oh,
play.
I'm sorry. Well, before we play, could you see from right there where you are? Can you see Miss Patterson, where her position is at that point?
No.
Can we play it from right there?
Go ahead.
Can we pause? It's fair to say that we can see you and Miss Corey running towards the area of the vehicle that just stopped. Is that
Yes.
fair to say?
Yes.
And where was Miss Patterson at this time, if you recall?
I didn't see her right away. Corey did. And she said, she just told me she's in a red car. So that's what we were looking for.
At that time, was Miss Patterson inside of the vehicle?
I do not recall. But what I do recall is the owner of the vehicle getting out of the vehicle, and that became my primary concern.
Let's hold fast a little bit. We observed the two, you and Miss Corey, running towards the area of the vehicle. Why such the urgency?
Miss Patterson is a mutual friend of ours. She said she was in trouble. I don't play around when people are in trouble.
Can we play it from, it's paused at 3 minutes and 8 seconds. Can we play a little bit of it from there?
Go ahead.
Pause right there. Do you see Miss Patterson in this video? Let's
Yes.
pause that right now.
Yes.
Is she inside the vehicle?
No, she is not.
Had you seen her before that?
Corey had spotted her, not me, before that. She did.
But it is fair to say that you're also in the area at
I
that
am
time, correct?
not in this general frame, no. I'm
Not
actually outside
not
of the
the
frame.
not the video, but you are present on the scene. But that
Oh,
was fair to
yes.
say.
Yes.
And what happened at this point, if you
At
recall?
this point, there was a physical altercation between Mr. Brooks and Miss Corey and Miss Erica. I was more worried about Miss Patterson being hurt, so I went for her to get her out of the way. I stepped between them as best I could, and I told Mr. Brooks he needs to leave. He needs to get out of here. Does not belong out here.
Do you recall if there was a knife involved at that time?
No, that is a miscommunication, and I will clarify that. The Monday,
Hold on, there's not a question yet.
Okay.
He'll ask the questions. I appreciate that, but just answer the questions that are asked at this point.
Did you at any point during this altercation, did you observe Miss Patterson get back into the vehicle at that point?
I observed her reaching into the vehicle for something. I don't know if she was grabbing a purse or something or whatnot, but she was grabbing something of her personal property out of the vehicle.
Did you observe
while
her?
this was going on?
Did you observe her get into the vehicle?
No.
Can we play it from 3 minutes and 11 seconds, please?
Go ahead.
Pause it right there. Did you see yourself come into the frame in this vehicle at that
Yes.
point? Would that be you there?
Yes.
It would be fair to say that you had some type of jacket on, or a black jacket.
At one
that
point, yes.
evening? What happened to your jacket at that point?
That jacket hit the ground as soon as Mr. Brooks started going for the two women.
So you threw the jacket off,
Mm-hmm.
Is that a yes?
Yes, ma'am.
Thank you.
and what was your reason for throwing the jacket off?
Well, if the court don't hate me for it, I'm just going to say it's a good thing that there were two women in my way at that point in time.
And what do you mean by that?
That means when my jacket comes off, trouble's going to happen. Especially if you're trying to assault a woman in front of me.
So that gesture was an aggressive gesture.
Oh, that was a completely focused gesture.
Well, you did make reference to. Let me back up. Would it be fair to say that you just made reference to trouble following you throwing off your jacket?
No, not trouble following me.
Well, maybe that's the wrong way to put it, but
I'm
there would
confused
be
by your
trouble.
question.
Excuse me?
Can you rephrase your question?
Oh, I will. I'm sorry about that. You made reference to there being trouble when your jacket comes off. Is that fair to say?
Yes.
Would it be fair to say that that would be, or that could be, perceived as an aggressive gesture?
You mean as an...
Objection calls for speculation. How it's perceived calls for speculation.
Sustained as to the form of the question.
Who gave the report that there was a knife involved?
That was not put into a report. That was a miscommunication between me and an officer. I had been knifed earlier that week and had 12 stitches in one hand. I said, now I have a friend being assaulted and I need backup here. So when the police stopped and asked if there was a knife, I said, no, there was never any knife. I didn't have a knife. Miss Patterson, Miss Corey didn't have a knife. You didn't have a knife.
Did you get a chance to see the report that was taken by law enforcement from you?
Well, I'm the one. You mean, you're talking about when I was on White Rock going to Miss Patterson?
No. The day of November 2020, the day of November 22nd, 2021. You made reference already to being interviewed by a detective, correct?
Yes.
And had you, after that, seen that report from that day?
No.
And you stated that the reporting of the knife was a miscommunication, you
Yes.
referred to it as?
Yes.
Did you at any time tell law enforcement that there was a knife involved in the altercation?
No.
Do you know if your friend Corey told law enforcement that there was a knife involved in the altercation?
No, she did not.
Do you know if your friend Miss Patterson told any law enforcement that there was a knife involved in the altercation?
She did not as well. No.
And how long before the incident on November 21 of 2021 had you known Miss Patterson up until that point?
Probably maybe a week and a half, 2 weeks.
I want to back up to the phone call that you received from Miss Patterson.
Okay.
When she called you, did she give you a name of whoever may have been assaulting her?
She didn't have to. She was meeting one person that day, and I knew exactly who he was because she had showed me his picture and rap sheet prior. Her child's father, the father of their 15-year-old daughter, is who she was meeting up with that day. And I told her multiple times, it's not a good idea. I have a bad feeling about this.
Do you recall stating that you walked past the red SUV that was parked?
Yes.
Would it be fair to say from the two exhibit videos that we watched today that you in fact did not walk past any SUV?
I most definitely walked past an SUV that was red on White Rock Avenue. Whether or not it was your specific SUV, it was still a red SUV. Up until this point, knowing Miss Patterson, I didn't know anything about the father of her child. I didn't know anything about his background except for what she showed me over the phone. Anything about his vehicle description, why would she need to tell me that?
Is it fair to say that the video doesn't show you walking past any red SUV?
If the
Is
video,
that fair to say?
If the video proves that, then yes.
Well, in the report that was taken from you by a detective, do you yourself recall stating that the alleged defendant tried to punch and push you?
The alleged defendant being you? Yes. Attempted to.
Would it be fair to say from the video that it doesn't show you being pushed or?
No, it does not. It shows me pulling two women away from the situation.
Any reason why you would state to detectives that the alleged defendant attempted to punch and push you?
Probably because there were three different people's fists flying, and I was just trying to get the people that I cared about out of the way of danger. So if my statement to the detective is off a little bit after watching a bunch of people get run over, I can understand why.
So you were at the parade that day?
I was not at the parade that day. I was in the area
So
trying
how
to get back to my house.
so how can you watch people being run over if you weren't at the parade that day?
I wasn't attending the parade. I was in the area that the parade route was in. My street is the parade route.
Did you see anyone injured that day?
When
During the parade?
Yes, after I walked back through that area,
You saw someone get injured?
I saw a red SUV take off like a bat out of hell down Main Street
Did
and
you
go
see?
through a crowd of people.
The question was, did you see this take place?
With my own freaking eyes. Yes. How many times do I have to say yes for you to understand it? YES spells yes.
I'm sorry, Your Honor, I don't know how to.
Are you moving to strike the last response?
Yeah.
The jury will disregard the last response. I'm just going to remind both of you, please answer the questions that are asked, and follow-up needs to take place. Either Mr. Brooks or the state will ask.
Is it fair to, well, in reference to the Exhibit 3 video that we just viewed,
You're talking about the one by the elementary school.
Yeah, the one
Okay.
the one that we just made,
Just checking.
which would be Exhibit 3. Is it fair to say from that vehicle? Got me.
Videos.
I'm sorry. From that video, is it fair to say from that video that, in fact, there are not 3 people throwing punches? Would that be fair to say?
There are 3 people throwing hands in that video: Erica, Corey, and Mr. Brooks. Not myself. If you watch the video, you will see 3 pairs of hands go up towards one another. Whether one is stepping in to pull someone away from another or not, hands are being brought up.
Do you recall where you went after that altercation?
After the altercation between Miss Patterson, Mr. Brooks, Miss Corey, and myself, the 3 of us, Miss Patterson, Miss Corey, we started to leave. I told Mr. Brooks, you need to get out of here. The police have been called. You need to leave. You need to leave now. You do not belong here. I did not expect.
Can you strike everything that's not pertaining to the question that was asked?
Actually, I'm just describing the entire event in its entirety.
I understand. I'll strike the response as being non-responsive to the question. The jury is to disregard it. Re-ask your question again.
Okay. Do you recall where you and your 2 female friends went after the altercation?
We started to head back in the direction of the women's shelter where they lived, where they were staying at the time.
Do you recall at any time being stopped by a law enforcement officer on your way back to the women's shelter?
We were stopped partway down White Rock, and that was when I had told the officer, because he wouldn't get out of his SUV, I had let him know that they need to be on the lookout for a red SUV that took off back down White Rock towards Perkins Avenue, or street or road, whatever it is. The officer had asked me if there was someone with a knife, and that was when I held up my left hand, and I said no. I said I have 12 stitches from a knife injury on this hand, but this is what you need to be looking for, is this red SUV. And I'm guessing that's where the miscommunication of the knife came in, and I don't know where that officer went after that.
Would it be fair to say that that was the second law enforcement officer that you had spoke with that day, at that time?
Yes.
During that interaction with the second law enforcement officer, do you yourself recall stating that a black guy just assaulted my friend?
No.
Any reason why the officer would report that?
Objection calls for speculation.
Rounds.
Sustained. Calls for speculation.
Did you yourself sustain any injuries during the altercation?
I ripped open 3 stitches on my hand, but that was more so from pulling Miss Corey away from Mr. Brooks so we could get out of there.
Did you report to any law enforcement? Well, I guess that would refer to the second law enforcement officer that you spoke with. Did you report that to that officer?
No. Because at the time I didn't notice it. I didn't notice my hand was ripped open again until I got home.
So it would be fair to say that you don't know how those stitches opened up. Would that be fair to say?
No, I'm pretty sure I know how they opened. My stitches got caught on the zipper on Corey's backpack. That's how the stitches were ripped out of my hand when I was trying to pull her away from Mr. Brooks and intervene between her, Mr. Brooks, and Miss Patterson.
Knowing a little bit about stitches, would it be fair to say that
a wound that was stitched being reopened would cause a little bit of pain. Would that be fair to say?
Objection. Relevance.
Grounds.
Sustained. Relevance.
Did you notice any blood from the stitches being reopened?
Didn't feel anything until I actually looked at it when I got home. 12 stitches coming across my thumb in kind of like a fish hook type pattern. It was the two over here that ripped open, and the one up here. Or actually, I take that back, the one up here.
So just for the record, he's holding his left hand. He had his thumb out, extended almost like an L, but with the other fingers almost like a C, and he was pointing to his left thumb near, I would say, the middle of the thumb, and then the curve of the thumb where on the inside where it goes up toward the index finger. Sorry, I have to make a record of all.
No, that's just fine.
Go ahead.
So was it 2 stitches that opened or 3?
Objection. Relevance.
Grounds.
Overruled. He may answer, but then move on.
It was 3.
And do you recall what time you made it home that evening?
Absolutely not.
Was it immediately after the altercation or sometime after? Or
No, I took the girls back to the shelter, and then I started running back towards Main Street to try and see if I could avoid the parade traffic. And that's when I saw the red SUV go down Main Street.
And do you recall speaking with your women friends after you had made it home that evening?
Yes.
Did at any time you indicate to them that you...
Objection. Hearsay.
Hold on. Let him finish the question. He was asking what he
Strike
indicated
the
to them.
question. I thought that's what I said.
You can ask your question. That's what I thought you were saying too.
Did you yourself at any time indicate to your female friends that you had sustained an injury during the altercation?
No.
Objection. Relevance.
Overruled. His answer may stand.
In the time that you had known Miss Patterson up until that day of November 21st of 2021, had you yourself ever heard Miss Patterson refer to the alleged defendant by a different name?
Objection. Relevance.
Grounds.
Overruled. The witness may answer if he knows.
No. You mean like an alias or something?
A different name.
Well, okay, that can, a nickname, an alias. I mean, let's be specific here.
Did Miss Patterson ever refer to him with another name, if you recall?
Not that I can personally recall, no, ma'am.
To your knowledge, was your friend Miss Corey, as you refer to her, do you recall her stating that she was injured during the altercation?
She did tell me that she I believe she like hurt her finger or her fingernail or something like that, but I don't think it was relevant to the incident that had happened.
What do you mean by you don't think it was relevant to the incident that happened?
Objection. As to relevance.
Sustained is to the form of the question.
No further questions?
Before I decide whether to do cross at this time, how long do you believe it will be?
0 minutes because I have no cross.
All right, thank you. And you can step down. And we're going to take a break. All right, thank you. You may be seated. You may step down, sir. And I presume he may be released from his subpoena, Mr. Brooks. You're done questioning him?
Yeah, I don't think he's no longer needed.
All right, you are released from your subpoena, sir. Thank you. All right, let's take about a 15-minute break. Anything we need to address prior to that, or can we do it when we come back?
Nope, thank you.
We are back on the record. It's 3:58. Appearances are as they were before. Jury is coming into the courtroom.
Subject matter jurisdiction.
Your request, as I understand it, is noted. The objection is noted. It's overruled. We'll continue with the questioning of a witness. You may call your next witness as soon as all the jurors get in the jury box.
Defense calls Heather R. Reamer.
Thank you. Go ahead, sir, your witness.
Good afternoon, Ms. Reamer. How are you feeling today?
I'm okay.
I want to direct your attention to the evening of November 21st of 2021. Do you recall what you were doing that evening?
I was at the Waukesha Christmas parade.
And do you recall who you were with at the parade?
I was with my husband and 3 friends and one of their children.
About what time, if you recall, did you and your family arrive?
Right before it started, we were running late, and then by the time we got to where we were seated, it was right before it started. I don't recall exact time.
What do you recall weather-wise that evening? Was it a pretty chilly evening?
Yes.
If you recall?
Yes.
Pretty windy?
Yes.
So I'm assuming at some point you observed a bit of commotion. Would that be fair to say?
Yes.
And do you recall what that commotion was?
Everyone running around was the biggest commotion.
At that point, did the area you were positioned in get pretty loud, chaotic?
Yeah, screaming gets loud.
At the point you observed this commotion, what did you do from that point?
Started running.
I'm assuming with you and your family all took the same course of action.
We all ran, yes.
And where did you run to?
Away from the parade route. I'm not familiar with streets. I'm thinking it's East Avenue. We ran down that road.
Would that be a side street connected to the main parade route, or?
Yes, it was a perpendicular route.
Do you recall if that side street was barricaded in any way?
I don't recall.
Do you recall if there were any law enforcement officers stationed at that side street?
I don't recall.
Did you, at any time during the commotion when you and your family were at the parade, do you recall seeing anything that drew your attention in any way?
Yes.
And do you recall what that was that you saw?
A red Ford SUV driving through faster than all the other cars in the parade.
And what did you observe this vehicle doing at the time that it caught your attention?
It was honking. Well, I heard honking. I'm not positive if it was the red SUV or another car alerting.
Did you notice any other vehicles around the vehicle you saw, following the vehicle you saw?
Following, no. It passed a float that had a vehicle in the parade. So it was by another vehicle, yes.
And it was passing the other vehicle you're referring
Yes.
to, correct? In your opinion, strictly your opinion, why would a vehicle honk its horn?
To alert somebody.
Do you recall I'm assuming at some point the vehicle passed the position where you were, would that be fair to say?
Yes.
At any time during the vehicle's passing you, did you see who was driving the vehicle?
No.
Did you notice if they were intents to the vehicle as far as windows?
Ma'am, can you speak up a bit?
Oh, I don't recall.
Thank you.
Do you recall if you were able to see into the vehicle?
I don't recall.
Do you recall if you got a chance to catch the license plate number of the vehicle?
No, I didn't.
And from your recollection, when the vehicle passed you, were the windows up or down?
I don't recall.
Upon arriving at the parade that evening with your family, did you notice any of the side streets barricaded in any way? Any of them?
Yes.
Do you recall if there were law enforcement officers at those barricaded side streets?
I don't recall.
Do you recall about how long the parade had been ongoing before you saw this vehicle?
I don't recall.
From that point, did you and your family immediately leave the parade and head home, or?
We left, we didn't head home.
Did you or any of your family members suffer any injuries during this incident?
No.
Did you yourself observe the vehicle that passed you during the parade? Did you yourself witness anyone injured by the vehicle?
I don't believe so.
That's all I have right now.
Thank you. Any cross?
Yes, briefly. Thank you, Your Honor. Good afternoon, Ms. Reamer. Thank you for being here today.
Yes.
I'd like you to take a look at the man seated to my right, table to your left, Mr. Brooks. You ever seen that man before?
I don't consent to being called that name.
Noted. Overruled.
Yes.
Tell us about when you've seen Mr. Brooks before.
Objection leading.
It's cross-exam, so it's proper. They may lead. You may answer.
As we were driving to the parade, we were coming to a stoplight and we saw the red SUV coming down the wrong way on the road, and I slowed down because the car in front of me started to back up to let him through.
This took place outside of a gas station, is that correct?
Yes.
Your Honor, I'd ask that we display for everybody exhibit number 7. It's previously been received and published.
Go ahead.
Objection to relevancy.
Exhibit 7 has previously been received. Overruled.
Is it relevant to this particular witness?
Yes, it is.
Is this the gas station that we're talking about?
Correct.
And you were parked on North Street facing southwestbound at the time, is that right?
Objection, speculation.
Overruled. The witness may answer.
Is that the way of traffic? I don't know.
Well, let's
Correct, so-
assume, based on these arrows here,
Oh.
Objection, speculation.
They're on the map. Overruled. Her answer was yes, and you may ask the next question.
Madam Clerk, can we please clear the annotations? And you saw the red SUV that we've been talking about come the wrong way on North Street, is that right?
Correct.
And what happened after that?
Should I draw?
Sure, yep, that's a touchscreen. Go for it.
So I stopped roughly back here as the car that was here started to reverse this way.
It will be received as 7C as in Charlie. Go ahead.
Objection to relevancy.
Overruled.
You saw Darrell Brooks driving that red SUV in front of that gas station. Is that correct?
Objection.
At that
don't
time, I
consent
didn't
to
know.
being called that name, and it's speculative.
Overruled. You may answer.
At that time, I didn't know his name, but yes.
But now that you see him sitting in court today,
Yes.
that's the guy.
Yes.
Objection. Speculative.
Overruled. The record will reflect the identification of the defendant as the driver of the red SUV she saw as depicted in this exhibit.
Thank you. May we please display for everybody exhibit number 15, which has also previously been received and published.
Go ahead.
Can we zoom in, please, on the intersection of Main Street and Northeast Avenue?
Objection. Relevancy.
I presume the question will provide the relevance, so go ahead.
Thank you. You were sitting in front of the Historical Society, you testified?
Yes.
And do you recognize this map in front of you?
Objection. Speculative.
Overruled. The witness may answer.
No, I don't.
Okay. Would the Historical Society be near this intersection that I'm circling, East and Main?
Yes.
Okay, we can please remove that annotation, Madam Clerk. When you saw the red SUV drive by, you testified you could not see the driver, correct?
Correct.
Because it was going so fast?
Yes.
Did you ever see that SUV come to a stop at any point on Main Street?
No.
In fact, did you see it accelerate as it traveled towards more people?
Yes.
Objection. Speculative.
It says, overruled. The witness may answer.
Sound
Yes.
like you was going to say substain.
And then I remembered you had called the witness, not the state. So cross-examination is appropriate. Fair enough, though. Next question.
Did we get an answer on
I said yes.
that? Okay, thank you. That's all I have.
Redirect, sir.
When shown this exhibit on cross, you stated you were approximately around. As a matter of fact, that wouldn't be fair. Can you erase that that mark, please?
It's clear.
Were you show again where your vehicle was positioned?
It's just a rough estimate, but
Okay.
probably right about here.
And you stated there was another car that did a backing up motion. Can you show again where that vehicle was positioned?
If they were at the light going this way, backing up.
If you recall, or do you recall, if there were any vehicles in this space right here?
There was none.
Rough estimate, about how far would you estimate the distance is between your vehicle and the vehicle that was at the light? Rough estimate.
I never came to a complete stop back there. It's when I started to slow down.
So you were still kind of rolling forward a little bit?
Yes. Because they backed up and then moved forward, and so then I moved forward.
So you didn't come to a stop until you noticed that vehicle backing up?
No. I didn't come to a complete stop until we were back up at the light.
So let's start this again. Where did you finally come to a complete stop at, if you recall? And at that time, well, back up a little bit before I get to that. You observed an SUV, you say, at some point before you came to a complete stop?
Yes.
And what did you see that vehicle do?
Right this way.
What did you see it do after you noticed that it was coming in that direction?
Turn in here.
Would that be into the gas station?
Yes.
And what did you see the vehicle do at that point?
Roll down their window and yell something at the car in front of me.
Did it stop?
Yes.
Was it, I'm assuming you might know what I mean by this. Was it like a brake stop or was it a park stop? If you recall.
If you're not in the vehicle, how do you know that they put it in park?
Well, brake stop would be brake lights, but okay.
Objection, move to strike.
Grant that, strike the last statement made by the defendant, but you may ask your next question.
And how long were you at the light?
Just a very short time.
And in that short time, you were able to see who was driving the vehicle, the SUV, as you say, that went into the gas station.
Yes.
Is that the same SUV you saw at the parade that evening?
Yes.
The same vehicle that you said you don't recall if it was tinted or not?
Yes.
So at the point of seeing this vehicle at the gas station, at that point, did you notice any tints?
I don't recall.
Did you notice if there was anyone else in the vehicle at that time?
I only saw one person.
Could you see into the back of the vehicle?
I don't recall.
Can you see the passenger seat of the vehicle?
Yes.
Was anybody in the passenger seat?
No.
But you don't know for sure about the back seat.
No, I couldn't see it.
You pull up exhibit 15. Can you pull that back up?
The state would please pull that up, and we'll publish that for everyone.
The side streets would be Buckley Street and Northeast Avenue. Would that be fair to say by looking at the map?
Yes, that's what the map shows.
And you said you don't recall if those side streets were barricaded.
I wasn't at the intersection. The
You were-
Historical Society is at that intersection, but I was in front of the Historical Society.
So would it be fair to say you were close to the side street?
I was close, but not at it, so I don't know if there was barricades there. I wasn't close enough to see to be by barricades.
So you stated you ran away from the commotion, so it would be fair to say at some point you moved from your position in front of the Historical Society, correct?
Correct.
And do you recall what side street you went down to when you were running?
We ran up to the building of the Historical Society on the side of East Avenue.
So that would be this side street here.
Yes.
You stated that you knew the identification of the driver of this SUV based on what you observed at the gas station, correct?
Can you repeat that?
You stated that you... Let me back up. You were able to identify the driver of this SUV based on what you observed at the gas station, correct?
The gas station, I saw the driver, yes.
Do you recall what the driver was wearing when you observed him at the gas station?
At the gas station, no.
Do you yourself recall in your telephone conversation with law enforcement stating that the driver was wearing a red-orange shirt?
That was not from the gas station.
So where would that description come from, if not the gas station?
I saw video footage of you in somebody's backyard.
So what did you observe the driver of the vehicle wearing at the gas station?
I don't recall.
So it'd be fair to say that in your phone conversation with law enforcement, you gave a description based on what you had seen from footage. I guess that would be the right word to use.
The shirt color, but your description was from the face was from the gas station.
And do you recall in that phone interview stating that you weren't positive on the shirt color?
Yes.
Do you recall in that phone interview stating that since seeing the news that you may be getting the clothing description incorrect?
I remember saying that I've seen the news. I don't remember saying that that is why I'm getting it. It wasn't the same as when you were driving.
So would it be fair to say that your description came from watching footage at some point and from news reports at some point?
Not news reports.
But you did see this incident reported on the news?
Yes.
Did you see where the vehicle? Did you see where the vehicle went when it passed your position?
Objection. Can we just clarify whether that's at the gas station or the parade?
Fair enough. Sustained.
Sorry for that. I'll clarify.
Thank you.
Do you recall seeing where the vehicle went when it passed your position at the parade that evening?
Continued down the parade route.
And you already stated that during the parade, seeing the vehicle and not seeing the driver, how are you sure that that driver of the vehicle you saw at the gas station was the same vehicle at the parade?
I know that they were both red SUVs, Ford SUVs.
Were you yourself sure that they were the same vehicle?
They were the same model, same color, same make.
So what is the make and model, if you recall, of the vehicle that you saw at the gas station?
Ford Escape.
And how did you come to that determination based on your observation at the gas station?
Because I know a decent amount of cars.
What do you mean by decent?
I mean, I don't know all makes, but I know this one for sure because I had a friend that had the same exact make and model, just different color.
So are you yourself able to just look at a vehicle and tell the make and model?
Some, yes.
So it'd be fair to say some, not all.
Correct.
So that brings me back to the driver. You stated you didn't see the driver of the vehicle you saw at the parade. How do you know there was the same driver?
Objection. The state's the evidence. She never testified that she knows it's the same driver.
Sustained.
I'm asking how to.
Rephrase your question, please.
Do you know if it was the same driver?
No.
No further questions?
All right, thank you. Do not investigate this case on your own or visit the scene, either in person or by electronic means. Do not read any newspaper reports or listen to any news reports on radio, television, over the internet, or any other electronic application or tool about this trial. Do not consult dictionaries, computers, electronic applications, social media, the internet, or other reference materials for additional information. Do not seek information regarding the public records of any party or witness in this case. I don't think there's anything else I need to cover at this time, unless there's something from either one of the parties. From the state first?
No, but we would like some further direction from the defendant as to who he wants here tomorrow morning and tomorrow afternoon, if he wants us just to continue that list that he originally provided, or if there's an update.
Anything from you, sir?
No, I'm just gonna say with that, I'm not gonna put them in specific order.
Not looking for the order, but we're behind given the timetable and the understanding between, as I understand it, between you and the state.
The state has the list.
So generally speaking, you've been taking about a half an hour, I would say, for each witness. At least that one took about 35 minutes. If we go on that schedule, do you think, understanding we take a mid-morning break, a lunch break, and a mid-afternoon break, I would think we could get through at least 3 to 4 tomorrow morning and 3 to 4 in the afternoon. I'm going to have the parties be available for that and be ready for that. Whatever order, but
All the parties?
yes, both you and the state.
So at this point, there's no telling what witnesses will be here tomorrow, right?
Well, based on the groupings that you gave to the state, it sounds like we got through only one from each
Right.
kind of category. So we'll go back to the first would have been Thursday morning. You need to call the rest of Thursday morning. Was there 2 left of that?
Yes, correct.
So
And so let's do Thursday morning and Thursday afternoon. The people you designated, I'm going to direct the state to have here tomorrow morning. That's 4 witnesses, whatever order of those 4.
5. It's 5, but yes.
It's 5?
We'll have them here, based on your original list.
And then, how many does that leave? Because I'm not
that's what I'm trying to
doing
figure out.
good with math this
4.
late in the day. 4, so 4 in the afternoon then. So our hope is to get through all your witnesses
I can say this
tomorrow.
for the record. One witness I intend to call tomorrow is not going to be 35 minutes.
Fair enough. Do you plan to call that person in the morning or the afternoon?
I'm leaning towards the afternoon. That could change depending on the flow of the morning, I would guess. If the morning goes pretty...
Can you tell me which list they were on when you gave it to the state? Was it Thursday afternoon, Friday morning, or Friday afternoon?
I didn't put them on days, but I believe they were in the the second flow of names. If
You just
that
want to tell me who
helps.
it is so we can prepare, so that person is told to come in the afternoon rather than wait through the morning?
I don't want to say who it is.
Well, I want the person to be here when we're ready to go, but
They were here today, if that helps.
Yeah, I know who it is. It's Erica Patterson, Your Honor. There's no
Maybe.
mystery here.
Maybe
all right,
it is,
that's
maybe
what I
it isn't.
would have. That's kind of who I thought it would be as well.
So,
I'm going to have her come tomorrow afternoon. Then I'm
okay,
not
we
gonna
will
her
have
come
you
in the
here at
morning.
1 o'clock tomorrow afternoon.
So
Your
we
Honor.
need
Thank
to be
you.
mindful of people's schedules.
Thank you. Thanks. We'll have everyone else here at
That's
8:30.
interesting because what if that was not who I was referring to?
Then you need to tell me right now so I can make an alteration to that.
Come on, Judge.
Sir, we're at the end of the 3rd week of trial.
So
I
can we
need
at
to
least
keep
be
this
fair?
moving
Can we at
along.
least be fair and say that's not due to me though?
That would not be fair to say.
How?
It's
How? The state said that they needed 5 to 7 business days to present their case. Did they or did they not say that on the record?
and there's
So how
it doesn't
did
matter how we got there at this point. I'm trying
Then they
my
need to chop,
darndest
chop.
to get all the
Should've been
witnesses
chop, chop.
done. So I'm directing the state to have Ms. Patterson come tomorrow afternoon.
If that's
And the
what I was
other
referring to, which
witnesses?
I wasn't, but everybody think they know what I'm thinking.
Then you need to tell them if it's someone else, and if you want her here in the morning.
I'll
then
say
that-
this. Everybody that was here today that didn't get called, I have them here tomorrow. So that'd be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 people.
And you need to tell me who you want in the morning, not by the order, and who you want for the afternoon. Otherwise, I'm going to make the order that I just made.
No, how you gonna make the order for me?
Under 906.11, sir.
No, you can't. I can call. I have the right to call them in the order that the state didn't have to have an order. And I'm guessing
No, but the
Correct me if
state's
I'm wrong, but
helping
I'm-
you out in terms of the order,
they were helping me out with serving
and
the
they're helping you.
subpoenas. Not the order of how I would call the witnesses, but the subpoenas. And I gave the state.
Do you want to be responsible for calling each person tonight and telling them what time they need to be here, or should we let the
See,
state
here we
do
go
that?
with this again. There's something that's impossible to do.
That's not true. You have
How's it
access
not
to
true?
a phone.
So somebody's gonna answer a collect call from someone they don't even know. Nobody in this courtroom will answer a collect call and pay for a phone call from
not
somebody
my
that you
understanding
not know.
of how it works at the jail. That you can.
Yes.
There's other means to make phone calls.
There is no other way to utilize the phone.
Well, maybe I'm wrong on that, but be that as it may, the state is helping you out. This is to make tomorrow go as smoothly as possible, to be effective, to be efficient, and to use all of our time wisely.
Your Honor, with all respect, I did what was asked of me to do. I provided them with the list of the witnesses that I will call. And I stated before that I would not put them in order, and the state accepted the list that I gave them. So why, at this point, is
Who are
everything
the witnesses who are here
being
today?
a problem?
Douglas Kohler, Detective Guth, Erica Patterson, Christopher Bertram, and Jason Hayes were here today, in addition to Miss Reimer. Miss Reimer's now done. Nicholas Kirby was also here today. He's done. If we are going to continue to assist Mr. Brooks in getting these witnesses here, we need to have a reasonable time schedule. These witnesses don't just show up by the tooth fairy. We have to communicate with them. They have jobs, they have families. I've explained this 3 times to Mr. Brooks. If he wants our assistance,
Objection. She can chill with all
he
that. She can
needs
chill with all
to-
that tone.
Hold on,
Because
hold on. I
we
know
can get
we-
on that if that's what it is.
Hey, I
We
know
can
it's been a
definitely
long
get on
day.
that.
Let's keep this civil.
That's what I'm trying to do, but
So
she gonna have to tone it down.
I think both of the parties are getting a little
For real.
frustrated. I'm getting frustrated. So, I'm
don't
Kohler,
know who they be
Guth,
denying.
Hayes, Patterson. I missed a 5th.
Bertram.
Guth is a police officer, right?
Yes.
I know who Eric Patterson is. How about Kohler, Hayes, and Bertram? Are those citizens?
They're citizens that relate to the parade, I believe, and post-parade.
It seems to me that even with one of the witnesses taking more than 35 minutes, that doesn't fill up the whole day. So we need to have some other people on that list for the afternoon.
So I will just continue to work in the order of the list that was provided. Your Honor, I think that's the only reasonable thing we can do at this point. Or we can do it alphabetical, or we can do it by random lot, because I don't know really what else to do.
By the list that was given.
What was the order of the list that you were given?
The first 3 were Kirby, Kohler, and Guth. The next line has 3 names: Patterson, Bertram, Hayes. The third line has 3 names: Reimer, Aldrich, and Lescano. The last list has 2 names and then also reads the state of Wisconsin.
First 3 people on the list you need to advise to be here tomorrow at 8:30.
Okay.
The next 2 people tomorrow at 10:30. The next 2 people after that tomorrow at 1:30. The next 2 people from there at 3:30. And then do I have anyone left over from there?
No. Yeah.
One more?
No.
If I have to go late tomorrow, then I would say the last person can be at 4:30 if need be.
Yeah, I agree. We would very much like to get through the defense witnesses tomorrow, Your Honor.
I don't know if that's gonna happen.
Well, that's the order that I'm making in terms of the times people need to show up. That gives you a range of people to select from.
I'm gonna have to see that what you're referring to then, because
Well, I trust you wrote it down because that's what I did.
I
So
didn't. I
we
didn't
are at
write it down.
recess then for the evening. We'll see everyone tomorrow at 8:30
all right.
a.m.
So if
Thank
they
you,
don't get
everyone.
called like that, don't try to blame it on me.